Welcome to
Welcome,
Living
welcome.
with the Spectrum. This is
Living with the
episode number
spectrum.
five. Number five.
Yes. Episode 5, Living with the Spectrum. You're going to see Grace in and out the camera today. As normal, she likes to give her
Entrance.
entrance no matter what.
So,
How
the,
y'all doing? How y'all doing tonight? Hope your week has been
a
great.
grand week, right?
Yeah.
Well, the last time you guys saw us, we talked about
The third diagnosis.
third diagnosis. So all three diagnoses
Mhm.
and how we felt. Now today we're just talking about um, life after the diagnosis.
Yeah, what do you do after you have been what do you do after these diagnoses happen, and how do you start your new normal,
Everyday life.
your everyday life? What is life going to look like now that you have a child that has autism, or in our case, children with autism? That's what we'll talk about today. And for us, I think it's gonna really be a lot of connecting back to God and really talking about how our faith was tested and how we really had to really um just do a lot of praying and trying to get understanding, you know what I mean? Because to be honest, you don't really understand what's going on, and you're confused. And as a mother, the person that brings the life into the world, you're even more confused. So that's what we talk about today.
And as a father, we
Can you sit back?
as a father excuse me, as a father,
We
we
still getting over colds, y'all.
yeah,
Here.
no, we're not passing it around.
Well, excuse me. I'm trying to help you throw that. Anyway, go
Well,
ahead.
as a father, um, I kind of feel like you really speak life into your children, and it was very devastating in so many different ways to
Right.
me. Of course, I'm a loner anyway,
Right.
but I mean, it just made me isolate myself even more
Hmm.
because, especially with people not understanding what we're going through, typically, in the run of a day, and you try to explain it to them, like, man, I ain't got time to explain all this,
Yeah, it's hard
you
to
know.
explain, especially when you really don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
it's scientifics behind it, and then if you don't really understand the scientifics behind it, you can't explain it. And then even if it's kind of hard to break it down in layman's terms. You know what I'm saying? So, and then when you're not in the right frame of mind, because you still trying to digest what has just happened, your whole world has been turned upside down. It's like you don't want to explain it. You don't want people to ask you what happened, and whatever. So it's just like you would rather not. And like Tim said, you find yourself withdrawing, becoming more withdrawn, and you find yourself being somebody that you're not. Me, I'm very loud.
Most
Excuse me.
people.
Most people, I'm sorry, that know me, they know that I'm a loud person. I like to talk, laugh. Not so much as like being the center of attention, because I don't really like being center of attention, but this thing will change your who you are as a person.
And I think some of the questions I get personally is like, how did it happen three times? You know,
Yeah.
you got somebody in your family that's like
Yeah.
that, or
Hmm.
what's going on? And I mean, to be honest with you, I don't have anyone, as far as I know,
Right.
in my family that's dealing with autism. What
I,
about you?
now I will say, a couple of when I was a child, why you keep
Go ahead.
sorry, I'm still getting used to all of this. Um, when I was a child, me and my family, we went to um Jacksonville, and I met me and my brothers. We met this cousins. They were twins, and they did have some type of special needs. And I don't know exactly because autism's not new, but before when people knew what it was, they weren't calling it autism. They were just calling it a handicap and stuff like that, different things that I'm not going to say, because learning the different things now, we know that it's kind of discriminatory. But they were different, and not in a bad way, like they weren't aggressive, but there was something that would, I think it was autism, but I don't know, because I was like, my brother was in college in Jacksonville, and we went to go visit him. And they were, we had to get used to it because we had never been around anybody personally that was dealing with any type of special needs. So it was new for us to have to learn how to deal with, but they were kind. And I don't know if they had autism or whatever, and they were twins. Um, and that's something I probably have to ask my mom if she even knows. Um, but other than that, and I don't even know if they were like family that was married into the family or if they were actually blood relatives. But we met them, and that was the first encounter that I had with personally with somebody that had somebody with special needs. And so I don't know again, but far as I know, nobody in my bloodline, like my immediate family, nobody um and Tim had to step off and give the kids food. That's why he kind of put me on, the spot. He say I'm the one that do all the talking anyway. So I'm trying to give him more talk time and not do all the talking. You probably want to take her and put her at the table. So but nobody in my personal like immediate family that I know has autism or any type of intellectual disability or whatever or delay. Um, so it's a lot to try to digest, and it's a lot to try to take in. And if you are a believer and somebody that follows Christ, it's very challenging to your faith. And I know that even in times like this, a lot of people fall away because they're like, you know, how could God allow something like this to happen to me? And instead of us doing that, because let me tell you something, I would be remiss. I've always kind of wanted to say that. And I don't really know if I'm saying it right, but I think I am. I would be remiss, and I'm gonna look that up to make sure that I'm not just throwing in words because they sound good. But if I say those weren't thoughts that went through my head, you know what I mean? Like I would be lying to you guys to say that my faith was strong and I was just like, okay, God, it's okay. We're gonna keep it moving. You know what I mean? You are this and that and quoting scripture and all of this and all of that. That will be a complete and utter lie because that is not what happened.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing. Even with scripture, we talk about the Bible. I mean, these were real people.
Who?
Just Bible people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Whenever they went through hard times, like David had to encourage himself. You know, you think about Abraham, who was waiting for a promise. For a long time. He's like, Lord, where you at? I got to make this happen.
Yeah.
You know. So we as people, as human beings,
Can you sit back?
She's big with, with me sitting back. I don't know why, but we as
Because
human
you like
beings,
block me and I feel blocked.
okay.
That's
But
why.
me, we as human beings, when we go through certain things, we don't just automatically just shake it off. You know, we tend to find ways of dealing with it, and that's what we're talking about today: how to deal with
Yeah.
autism.
And how we dealt with it.
Yeah,
Like we don't know
and
how,
how we're dealing with it.
yeah,
You
how we are
know,
currently still dealing with it.
yeah.
That is correct. But as I was saying, like I will be lying to you guys if I said to you that those, because I'm a human. It don't matter if I have been saved or whatever for a long time. Each time you get a diagnosis of your child having, a disability or whatever the case may be, you get a knock. You know what I mean? Like your faith gets hit. And if anybody tell you that they don't and then good for them.
Yeah,
But
they're on a whole nother level that I
hey,
I need to tap into, right?
hey, good for you. More power to you, my bro, my whatever, sis, bro, whatever. But for us, and I can speak for me, and Tim will speak for him. It is still a daily uphill battle. Okay.
It's a very real thing.
Yeah, and
And
go.
we as people, I mean, generally, people, of African American descent, we don't feel like it's cool to, have to go to therapy or certain things. But, at the time I was seeing a therapist as well. And we need to be able to talk about how we feel,
Hmm.
because when you don't internalize how you're feeling, it gets to the point of where you kind of you're kind of bullied by the situation. It's like something's happening to you, but you just can't tell,
Yeah.
and you don't know how to explain it, and it becomes something that's a bigger issue,
Yeah.
and eventually it's going to be something that's going to be mental.
Yeah.
So we have to learn how to be able to talk about what you're feeling, or have someone to talk to about it. And like with some of my friends, they don't have the issues that I have, so it's kind of like talking to them is like talking to a brick wall. Or, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really have too many people call me. Every now and again I'll get a call
Yeah.
to see how I'm doing. And I mean, the sad thing about that is that some days I have those really down days, those really days that I need to be picked up. And I don't, I'm not good at saying, well, someone help me with what I'm dealing with. But it's kind of like that. Um, Sometimes I do have these bad thoughts, and I can't say self harm or anything of that nature, but it's like, man, I feel like sometimes I don't even want to be here because it's so challenging at moments.
Right.
But I know that I got to be strong for my wife and my kids.
Right.
And we have to find ways, and for us, prayer, getting into the word, that's what helps us. Um,
And talking to people.
and talking to people, and doing hobbies, the filming thing or whatever it is I get my hands on to do. It really takes some of that stress away.
Yeah. I think too, a lot of times people don't really want to, like, they want to know and they want to hear certain things, but it could be a downer. You know what I mean? Like, because they don't understand the life. And when you start kind of talking about what you're dealing with, it kind of brings the morale down. And so that's a lot of reason why I don't really talk about it that much with my friends or whatever, because I don't like to be the type of person to bring down. If we're like having a good time or whatever, and we're talking and we're laughing, it's not necessarily that I want somebody to ask me what's going on in therapy with my kids, because there's not always going to be like this humongous breakthrough. You know what I mean? Like there are times that the therapist comes back to me or Tim and they'll say to us like they they didn't want to be dealt with pretty much. They didn't want to do nothing.
And
They
we're
didn't
talking we're talking about the kids, the kids.
yeah, we're talking about our kids.
Yeah, about
Um
some of the things that they're some of the behaviors, like my
well, we're
daughter.
talking about them
Yeah,
being in
yeah,
therapy,
yeah,
right?
being in therapy. Like I mentioned with Ivea, hitting herself and so on and
Yeah,
so
she
forth.
has self. And now, okay, so let me say this, because have started. I got a new job. Whoop, whoop. Brr, 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 brr.
Tell
Anyways,
them what you do again.
so I am a right now I'm just a behavioral therapist, and not just right now I am a behavioral therapist. But I am studying, and then I'm gonna go and take my test for my RBT, and I'll be a registered behavioral therapist. And then after that, I'm gonna go to school and become a BCBA. Nonetheless, what I'm saying, I said that all of that to say that I am learning a lot of the lingo, and so the self-inflicting behavior or self-harming behavior that Evea has. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about the hitting of herself. She'll
Yeah.
punch the walls and all of these kind of things. She does those things in school, and she does those things in therapy. She does those things at home. So she's done those things at church. She's done those things wherever the heck she feels like she needs to do those things. And it's not all the time that we're in a position that we can stop and find out what exactly is going on with her. And so what I was saying was, if we're out and about and we're having a good time or whatever, and people are talking about their kids, and we're not really talking about our children. I do want to give my son a shout out tonight. Nehemiah came
AB
home.
honor
He is
roll.
on the AB honor roll.
Come on, come
So
on.
again, this ain't all doom and gloom. My son is doing his thing. He's one of the only ones in his class that do know how to read. He's learning how to do his math. I want to also uplift, because there is light. There are moments that there are bright lights, and then there are low times. You know what I'm saying? So yes, shout out to my baby. He'll be 13 in a few weeks. He's
Yes.
on the AB honor roll. He's doing good. You know, better than what the doctor said that he was gonna do. So pie in your face. Anyway, I mean, and yes, he's still got a lot more to grow and a lot more to learn. And yes, I still desire for my son to have these friends, these people that really want to be around him and they can play video games. And I want my son to be able to have a girlfriend and stuff like that. But anyways, gotta handle all of that.
I don't think he'll have any problems with that. He
And I mean,
looks
no,
like his
he ain't no
daddy, so
ugly
he's good.
boy. That ain't the problem. And we make sure that he stay up on his clothes. That's just, but that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
What we're talking about
Being hopeful.
is being hopeful for the things that we were able to do and growing up, and also how we're dealing with it now. Anyways, you cut me off. No, I
Well,
cut myself off because I was giving my
well,
son props.
let me say this. I what we want to do is create some type of sense of community, to where we can have, people that we can talk to about certain things like this, and that's what this whole podcast is all about, because sometimes you're in that arena by yourself and you just feel like you're alone, and sometimes you just need somebody to come up and say, how you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah.
How was your day?
Yeah.
Instead of, a lot of these drive-bys sometimes we get, or sometimes we don't get anything,
Correct.
people that say they're your friends, don't hear from
Well,
them, don't see them.
there's that.
There's that particular light again.
We do.
I
I mean, you should already know
I
that this
failed the
light,
charge.
this light ain't here to light nobody. Do you understand me? She is only here for a few moments, and then she says she's done. Um, I think he's gonna attempt to lighten something. Nope, I'm getting darker. Yep, there I go. But let me say, like, I feel like, yeah, we do a lot of jumping around because that's just how our life is. It's never really like, it's all over the place. But what we were saying, or what I was saying, was um, there are moments in time where um, our children just don't, therapy is, it don't feel like it's doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I will say that a lot of times after I think she wants to get down. A lot of times after the diagnosis, I will say it's very important for you to get your children in some type of, starting the process of getting them in some type of speech therapy or occupational therapy or ABA, or physical therapy if they need it. Um, It's always better to start early. We started early, and it has not always been like it's not always been like um an easy task. Okay. Okay. It's not always been like an easy task or easy to try to find them, but you definitely have to make sure that you do it because the
The
earlier you
sooner you
start,
start
yeah,
is the faster you can tackle some things.
correct.
You know,
Right, I
and
gotta go do this.
go ahead. That's fine. That's fine. And I look at it this way. There's a lot that could be said about the whole autistic, lifestyle and dealing with it. But there's some great things that you learn. You learn how to. Uh, I say you learn how to get to the point of where you can be patient with other people, where you can sympathize with other parents, where you can. You just have to be more. You have to be focused. It allows you to focus a little bit more about what's happening with your life and in the arena or the area of your life. And I think that it's a good thing. But being in the situation, everybody wants their kids to be what's so-called normal. Everybody wants to go to the events that everybody else wants to go to and wants to see their children or child progressing and getting to the next levels in life instead of just it being for the next level for a long time and then you finally eventually get to another point. So I mean, just as my wife said, it's not all doom and gloom. There's some great moments and there's some passionate times. I just, because we have three different children on three different levels. Like we have one that's high functioning, that can talk and that can read and plays video games. We have the second child, which is our daughter, Ivea, and she's nonverbal and she's digressed a lot. And we have the little baby girl, Grace, who is she's starting to talk more, starting to get into sentences now. So we're starting to see her, progress a lot more. So we're starting to see some good things. It's just, it's just taking a lot of time to start seeing those things. And I'm just glad of where we're moving to. I'm glad that we're not where we were before. And continuing to climb is something that's great. And like my daughter, about 2 years ago, I had got her and my son one of those doom buggy cart things, and she knows how to drive it. She knows how to drive it better than my son. So there's some things that they really break out and do great things in. So with autism, it's like sometimes they're focused on one real thing that they can do extremely well above people that are not even in their class. You know, so just I'm just looking forward to seeing what they're really going to hone in on. My son, he vacuums. He loves the vacuums. He can even fix vacuums. At the age of 5, when he was 5, he was fixing vacuums. So those are the things that I'm excited about. Them being passionate about certain things. So that's just basically where that is. So while my wife is still, I guess getting some things together for Grace, her tablet, I wanted to talk to you guys about a support group that we're going to be doing this Saturday at 12 noon. And you can go to our website. We have a mentorship company, which this was birthed out of, called Destin the Coach. And with Destin the Coach, we have um, we have a site that you can go to, which is I am destined to coach, and you'll see it on our site. Oh, okay. Well, let me bring you up real quickly as you're coming in. But our site is called iamdestinedtocoach.com. We do anger management. We do our life coaching. We just try to mentor and tried to see how we could do community building projects.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the support group.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to post something on I am Destined to Coach, and they can go ahead and they can sign up for the support group this week. So I'll put it up. I'll put it up tomorrow. So tomorrow by 7 p.m. you can sign up for this weekend, this Saturday, and yeah, we can get to know one another. Cool.
Cool, cool, cool. I just found my necklace that.
Oh, you were looking for that earlier, right?
Yeah, he brought me a necklace that has the kids on it, but it looked like one of them may have broken it, but we'll get it fixed. Anyway, um,
I well, just to fill you in, I was basically talking about how our kids have excelled in different areas. Talked
mhm,
about how they're on three different levels,
mhm,
and started to go into the levels that they're on and what their abilities are,
mhm,
and just how we've seen some milestones.
okay.
You know,
Yeah. So, well, I will say that I am grateful to God that Nehemiah is doing well, and Evea is, although she has a lot to do, or you know what, I will say this. Let me say this about Evea, and a lot of people underestimate Evea as well as us. Um, but Evea does a lot of things, and we don't really give her enough credit for it. Um, and these IEP meetings, honey, let's just talk about those for a
yeah. Let's
second.
talk about those.
If you don't know what an IEP is, an IEP is an individual. Lord Jesus, Lord, what it stand for? Um, it's pretty much like this plan. Where's your phone,
Isn't it
babe?
like a
It
individual
means
educational?
plan. I think that's what it means, but I don't think it mean. I think it means something else. But anyway, it's a group of educators, like the teacher that the child is, class that the child is in, teacher, and then a couple of other people, educators.
Or is it's either education or evaluation plan?
I think it might be evaluation
Yeah,
plan.
eval. Yeah.
Um, and I should know that because we've been to at least 100. Well, I have. Tim been to maybe two or three.
Give me a little bit more credit. It's
Okay,
been more
five.
than that. It's been more than that.
Babe, IEP meetings.
Yeah.
Okay. So he says, so I'll give
Yeah.
it to him. But nonetheless, IEP meetings will make you feel, you'll go in the IEP meeting and feel like a giant. Like you know your child has excelled in some type of way in somewhere. And by the end of an IEP meeting, you will feel lower than low, because it's like they're meant to make you see all of the wrong that your child is doing or not. They're not meeting this goal or they're not meeting that goal. And it's like, well, at home, I know, I mean, let's be clear. I understand
You feel like can't
that,
get right.
yeah, what is that? And it's probably a movie that I don't know. What is
Yeah.
it?
Well, I
I mean, there's a gap in our age. So
mean, yeah.
there's a couple years going between us. So there'll be times that he talk about stuff and I'll be looking at him like, I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. Like right now. What's that can't get right?
Let's just move on. I don't want to get into that movie.
Anyways, I don't know. Y'all probably know what it is if y'all in his age group. But the IEP meetings will make you feel so low. There have been many a times, baby, that I done cried. I have, first of all, not like, I've cried in them before because I'm like, dang, like, is he doing anything right? Is she doing anything right? Because it's like they have these goals that seem like they should be able to obtain them. And it's like they're not obtaining them. Or they'll say, like, say the goal is being able to match their name 10, at least 6 or 7 times out of 10. And they've only matched it like 4 times out of 10. And or being able to match the alphabet or count to 10 out of 10. They've only done it maybe once or twice. And you're like, hmm, okay. Because and when I'm at home, there are certain things that my children and my child, if we're individualizing our kids, will do. Like for instance, today for Evea, because and I think we use her a lot as an example because she is our most
Most
she's the
challenged.
most challenging
Yes.
one. Because she is nonverbal. And I think that is a strike against her too. Because of the fact that she is nonverbal, she is looked at as to be lower level or lower yeah, level or whatever. And I don't feel like that necessarily because Ivea is very smart. Ivea knows a lot of things. As a matter of fact, Ivea is laughing right now because she knows that we're talking about her. Okay. Ivea knows Tim has some back problems, and sometimes he likes people to walk on his back and stuff like that. Today he was laying on the couch, and Ivea was sitting or behind the couch or something. And he said, Ivea, come step on my back. She jumped over the couch and started stepping on his back.
She does that really well.
Um, I came home from the store earlier today, and they always say, "Oh, they don't follow 1 or 2 word commands or whatever, whatever." And I'm like, okay, but when I'm telling her to do something, and mind you, I'm doing all of this without her communication device because we've learned how to communicate. Now, I'm not telling people to do that. And her communication device is, where is it? I'll tell her to bring it in here so you can see what it looks like. So a lot of people don't know what that is. Ivea, bring your talker. Um, Ivea, bring your talker. I want to show it. And she's gonna bring it. She's gonna look for it. She's gonna bring it. Where's your talker? Bring it here. She's shy too. But I told her we were downstairs. I told her to come here, and I had my wallet and I had my phone. Or this might have been yesterday, actually. But I said to her, "Go put this upstairs on my dresser." She came downstairs. She came and got my wallet and my phone, and she disappeared into my room. Now, a couple minutes later, I said, "Well, let me go make sure it actually made it where it needed to make it." Granted, because it's my wallet and my cell phone. And I went upstairs, and it was exactly where I told her to put it. So again, she gets underestimated a whole lot. And we also do a lot for her, excuse me, because she is nonverbal and we feel like she may not understand. Like I remember there was a time that they go back and forth to my parents' house over the summertime. And Ivea knows how to get in her seat. She knows how to buckle her stuff in. She also knows how to let us know that her seatbelt is not on. Um, and so we were about to go. We were actually exchanging the kids. I think they were coming back to us or they were going to our parents, my parents. Either way, my mom proceeded to lock her in. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm locking her seatbelt." I was like, "No, she already knows how to lock her seatbelt." And so I told Yvette, "Take off yours," and she will sit there and allow you to do these things for her. She is
Very smart.
very smart and very perceptive. And she will, if you want to do everything for her, she will sit there and let you and act like she don't know a thing. Do you understand me? And so I took the seatbelt off her and I said, "Ivea, put on your seatbelt." She laughed, as she does, because she's like, "Ah, she done gave me up." And she grabbed the seatbelt and she put the seatbelt on. Ivea knows how to do a lot of things. And there are a lot of things that she does not know how to do. So we are also trying to figure out the balance. Like we are constantly trying to understand how to do certain things with her, how to understand, what she's thinking or feeling, because she is, again, one of our most challenging, because she does, we never, like Nehemiah didn't do the hitting. and he wasn't aggressive towards himself at all. And so um this is a new role that we're trying to understand. And it gets to be very hard for us because it's hard to see your child hit themselves. And it's hard to see the bruises that come from it, or the knots, or there are times that she's in the back seat and I'm like, this little girl better not bust my window. That's how hard she's hitting. She hits very, very hard. Again, she's never hit any one of us because again, we don't play that. And she don't hit her brother or sister. She's not aggressive to other people, but she is aggressive to herself. And I don't want her to get older and then become more aggressive to other people. So right, or uncontrollable. Because that's just not, that's a no-no for us. And we have to make them now, remember? Um, so yeah, that's one thing that we are working on, and that's been rough. That's been really hard because, and then when she does it in front of people, they kind of give this look, and it's not much you can do about it. We tell her to stop, and I'm learning in ABA that telling them to stop or no kind of sparks it, and it makes them kind of do it more. So we have to kind of find an alternative measure to get her to stop. So I'm trying to incorporate using her communication device. Yvette, bring your talker. She hard-headed too, y'all. Yvette, bring the talker. She don't have to get on camera. I'm trying to show you guys what it looks like. It's actually a Android tablet, and it has a program on it. I don't know. Okay, there it is. It has a program on it it gives her the ability to talk to us. It gives her the ability to say things to us, and we communicate back to her so she can tell us, "Give me your talker." She laughing. Before the end of this broadcast, I will show y'all what this talker look like. Um, it will give her the option to say if she wants cookies or chicken nuggets. She wants those chicken nuggets warmed up, by the way. Chicken nuggets, or hungry, or she wants to drink, or she wants. Give me, give it to me. Yvette, give it to me. Thank you, Bubba. So let me see. It's bad. The battery about to die. But anyways, this is what it looks like. I don't know which camera I'm supposed to be. This one. This one. It's kind of bright. You can't really see. Hold on, maybe if I get closer so that you can kind of. It's too bright. Bring it down a little bit.
Back it up.
Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get y'all to see. There we are. Now we cooking with fish grease. Anyway, so as you can see on it, it has eat, drink, stop, play, people. If I go to people, it has it has some of us on there. We're the people, and again, we still trying. Oh no, people. Yeah. So, and you'll hear it talk. It talks for her because she is nonverbal at this time. So, mommy. It says mommy. Um, Nehemiah. Grace. And where's Daddy? Daddy's here. Daddy. All right. So that's what it looks like. It gives her the opportunity to kind of um he's getting me back in focus. gives her the opportunity to kind of talk to us. And at first she got it, and we did not use it very often because I will be 100% honest with you. I'm not big on technology. And my thing was, I didn't want it to become a crutch for her and stop her from actually,
I'm back.
Tim's back,
Yeah.
from doing daddy duty. Um, I didn't want it to stop her from wanting to talk. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want it to be that crutch. It's like, oh well, shoot, if this gonna be doing the talking for me, I ain't don't need to talk. But if we weren't getting anywhere with Grace, appreciate it. We weren't getting anywhere with our communicating. She was still upset. And we're learning that with using this, the more that we incorporate this into our lives, it does make it a lot easier. How do you feel about that?
I feel the same way. I feel like, she tells us whenever she's hungry. Um, she specifies what she wants to eat. So it's a real good tool. What's the name of that device? It's
It's just a plain Samsung uh,
but
Android tablet.
the system that it has on there. What is it called?
Oh, no, it's the Nova Chat 8.
Nova Chat. That's what it is.
Um,
And it's helped us out a lot. So
it
I'm
has
glad to see where we've come with her and with her communication.
facts. And so she's the only one with a communication device at this time. And again, we had to incorporate it more because there was a time that this thing would just sit up on the counter at our old house. And it's real. You like it'll stand the test of times. Okay. It would sit up at the counter on the counter at our old house and not be touched because again, um I'm not into technology like that. But because the field that I'm in now, I have no choice. You know what I mean? Like these people gave me an iPad, and whoever know me know I'm not an Apple person. Okay, I'm Android all the way.
And speaking of Apple, you can check us out on different social media platforms, Spotify, Deezer. You can check out the podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can check us out on Google Podcasts. So we're on a number of different platforms. So just check us out. Keep supporting.
Are you
And
cutting us off?
no, no, no. I just
Because
wanted to mention that,
it
just to
looked
let
like
you
he
know
was
that.
still coming to a close, and I'm
No,
like,
no. I just wanted to mention that because it's you can sit in your car. You don't have to be on Facebook. You can sit in your car, just listen to the podcast there, and it's a number of different platforms. So
facts, facts.
yeah,
You like
we
how
just want to get the word out.
he slid that in there,
Yeah,
and I appreciate that because that's definitely his thing. So there was one time, I think it was last episode or maybe the episode before, we kind of got into her getting sick. Can we just talk about that for a little bit?
yeah. Go ahead.
So a couple of weeks ago, um, again, when Evea gets sick, we will have absolutely no knowledge of her being sick. We are all going off of mommy intuition. Even daddy's going off of mommy intuition when Evea gets sick. Because she has no way of telling us, even though we have this communication device, she doesn't grasp yet the concept of letting us know how she feels. Okay.
Yeah,
So we are still trying to learn that. Okay.
trying to fish for that information.
So there have been times where Evea has doubled over in pain. Like I'll never forget this one time that we took her to therapy. She went to OT and she was doubled over in pain. And I mean, she was still acting normal. Like I noticed she was kind of walking bit over a little bit, but I didn't think nothing about it. I honestly did not because this was pre-Evade. I think I was pregnant with Grace actually. The time we had to take her to the hospital, ambulance, and all of that kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about. You remember that?
Yeah.
So I was pregnant with Grace, and OT was like, she did not want to do anything. She laid on the floor the entire time. And she was like, do you think she's okay? And I'm like, I'm not really sure. And a lot of times, in order for me to become more in tune with Evea, I have to shut out the outside world. Like, I have to not, I can't really talk to Tim much. I can't pay attention to Nehemiah, and now we have Grace. So I have to really become one with Evea so that I can kind of understand what's going on with her. So we got home, and I noticed I have to literally watch her like a hawk so that I can get something. I'm like, okay, babe, she is in pain. Something's not right. I'm noticing it now. Now, in the midst of all of this, she is still laughing and still, you know, kind of functioning, but not really. You know what I'm saying? And the more and more the day proceeded on, she started bending over more and more. Not really like there is no sound coming from her, like oh, ow, nothing. So finally, probably around 7, I was like, we gotta take her to the hospital, right? Cause I don't know what's wrong. She I didn't know. So we got dressed, took her to the hospital. This was, of course, this was pre-COVID. And once we got back to the hospital, um, what happened? We went to a regular hospital. We were living in Covington at the time. And they went through all the questions, and I said, you know what? I can't tell you anything about if she's in pain or anything like that because she's nonverbal. She has autism. And they did a abdominal check or whatever, and they were like, well, she's a child and we're not really equipped to deal with children, so we have to transport you over to Eggleston in Decatur, I think it was.
Yeah,
I think there's a show over there.
is that the Children's Hospital?
Yeah, I think we were in the one in Decatur.
Is that Decatur or is that Sandy Springs?
I don't know. All I know is that we had to be transported via ambulance to a children's hospital, be there all night. She didn't have any type of it wasn't her app. They because at first they thought it could have been her appendix. It wasn't her appendix. And I think it was just the fact that she was backed up. Now, so they gave her some stuff, and we got her back to normal. But I say that to say this, because they don't eat the regular food, there are times that you don't even realize that your child has not used the bathroom, especially because we have so many other moving parts going around us, and I was pregnant at the time. So my mind was already, you remember that they've used the bathroom, but you don't really think like, oh, they haven't used the bathroom. Anyway, we got that situation handled, and we try to keep her on a day, every other day schedule of taking Miralax or whatever.
So you just have to be on top of the challenges. You have to pay close attention to what's going on with your family, and she just mentioned that incident, and it was very stressful because
It was
we
stressful.
didn't know
We were in the hospital for all night,
all
all
night.
day.
Yeah, but I say the good thing about that is that I was able to just be there, and we all be on one accord, just as family. It's just our hearts and minds were like, that no matter what happens, we're here. This is the family unit. We're gonna make sure that everything is okay to the best of our ability. We're just together.
Right. But
So
hear me, because I'm going somewhere with that. He said that. But recently, I want to talk because, again, when you don't understand the dynamic of things, you don't know. So recently, Evea was sick, right? She wasn't feeling good. And I think the teacher called me and you
yeah,
had to go pick her up.
yep.
Okay, so the teacher called me. I was in training. She called me and she said Evea hasn't really been feeling well or whatever. Um, she's been whiny. And so a lot of times if Evea is having a bad day, we just go ahead and bring her home because it's easier for her and for us to make sure that she's okay. So again, she can't tell us if she's in pain, she's hurting, none of that. Brought her home. She stayed in bed and, got up the next morning. And Tim said, "Oh my God, Yvette threw up." And you remember,
Yeah, I
this
remember.
was just
A couple weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now, that's hard for a parent to walk in, because you walking in, we're walking in, we're starting our morning routine. It's time to get them up ready for school. We weren't really about to get her up and ready for school. We like to give them a day. If the teachers called and said they're not feeling good, we don't just send our kids to school sick. We either bring them home immediately and we let them rest that day and the next day, and then we send them back, or whatever the case, take them to the doctor. We try to be very in tune with that because we have these, challenges. So when he said that, I was still kind of laying down, and I jumped up and I ran in, and there was throw up. And this ain't the first time that she has thrown up. She has no indication of, or no way of telling us that her stomach's not feeling good, or whatever. So a lot of times we just have to, we'll walk into a situation and not even know anything about it,
Have to deal with it.
and just have to deal with it on the spot, because a lot of children can come and say, "Mommy, I'm not feeling good," or Nehemiah can at least tell us his tummy's hurting, his throat is hurting, whatever the case may be. He could tell us his nose is stuffy. But she cannot do that. So as a parent walking into that, knowing that she slept all night and throw up. And I will say this, by the grace of God, it was not all over her. It was actually on the side, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was there, but, and I don't want to just keep talking about throw up because that's kind of gross. But we're giving you a little bit of what we have to deal with on times when our kids get sick, namely right now, Evale. So of course we clean her up, we clean her sheets and everything. Of course she ain't going to school, because now we don't know what is wrong with her,
Yeah.
okay? Um, and I hate, for me, when Yvette gets sick, it's hard. There is no sleep for me when Yvette gets sick, because, especially when she throws up,
Mm.
because I have to get up on the hour of every hour to make sure that she hasn't thrown up on herself and is just in it. Because again, she can't tell me, and she don't make the funny, and it's not funny. The weird thing is, ain't no sound, right? Most people, when they throw up, they make the noise. But with her, it's silent. So, and that isn't the first time that's happened to us. It's happened to us numerous times. But when you are a parent, and a lot of times people are like, "Oh man, you know, shout out to you for dealing with what you deal with," and want to give us accolades and stuff like that. But it's like,
This is natural
this is
for
my
us. This is
child. I
yeah.
mean, you do what needs to be done, regardless of the fact. Um, and that's just what it is. I don't need a pat on the back, and I don't need or I don't need um somebody, just kind of,
You're doing what you're supposed to do.
I'm doing what I'm going to do,
Yeah.
period. Because the way that I was raised, and my father and my mother was very in tune with me, especially my father. Growing up, I was very sickly. I was asthmatic or whatever. I was in and out of the hospital. And so they were always, and they still, if y'all know me, y'all know my parents is like always, they is attached to me. And so I'm thankful for them, because just like they are attached to me, they are very much attached to my kids. And so they've been a huge blessing to us, because I mean, it's harder for them to get over here now, but even if we were to need to call them and say, "Hey, whatever's going on with our kids," they would be here as soon as they could.
Yes, no doubt.
And they've never, said no. It's always been, we may not be there as soon as we could have been if you
But we're
guys
gonna
were in
get there.
Florida, but they gonna get here. And a lot of people don't have that support system. And so what do you do when you don't have that. You know what I mean? And so my prayers go out to the men and the women that don't have the support system that we have. You know, there are single mothers out there, single fathers out there that do have to deal with this dynamic. And it's not an easy task to deal with. You know, when you have children or a child that may be sick and that is nonverbal and they can't tell you that they sick, or you got to take them to the doctor because there was a time that she had this thing wrapped around her foot. I didn't even know her toe was like turning a different color. I'm like, what is going on with this girl's foot? There was thread wrapped around so tight around her toe that, and you know, because I have other kids and other things going on, she couldn't say, "Mommy, my toe." Just by the grace of God, He prompted me to, you know, I inspect my kids. I try to at least every day, every night. That's when I find certain things on them that I don't know. And he prompted me to check her out, and she had this on her toe, and I had to end up. Of course, I cut the thread off, or whatever, and I took her to the doctor and make sure that, you know, the circulation was back in and so like that. But it's so many different instances that we have dealt with that a lot of people take for granted, that they don't understand that we got what we got to go through and what we deal with. And again, the reason why we made this podcast and we opened up this blog, or is this a blog? No, this is a
Podcast.
blog. I don't know,
Podcast.
whatever this is. It's a
It's a
podcast.
podcast.
Um, it's because we want people to. There are people out there like us,
Yeah.
and we want to be. We want to show that. You know what I mean? Especially because, again, I will say it again. As being Christians, as being followers of Christ, we are looked on as that we're supposed to just pray about it. And yes, to all of these things. Yes, pray about it. Yes, fast about it. Yes, read the word. Yes, do all of these things. But at the same time, we're human. And a lot of times you find yourself in a place you like, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? And so that's why we here. We're saying we've been to the point we don't know what to do either. But
But you have to do something.
you have to do something.
And that's the thing about it. So, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the podcast now.
What time is it?
Well, it's about an hour.
Has it really?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
The camera's powering off. That's what, what that means.
Sis said, okay, sis, you've been talking enough and I'm tired. But yeah, so I will say it's a blessing to have a team. You know what I mean?
Because
But
to be honest with you, a lot of marriages don't make it.
a lot of marriages don't make it.
So yeah, so next time, we'll talk more about this and about our lives with, living with the spectrum. Once
And we'll
again,
talk about those IEP meetings. They suck.
we'll actually get to what IEP means next time, right?
I think it's individualized evaluation plan or education plan.
Yeah.
And if y'all know what it is,
Just Google it. Yeah, just
I
Google
mean,
it.
you can Google it, but
Yeah. So, once again, you can catch us on the Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer. There's a number of different ones, Spotify.
or just watch us on Facebook.
Yeah, watch us on Facebook. Go to, I guess, Kingdominium TV on YouTube, and you could watch Living with the Spectrum. And once again, this Saturday at 12 o'clock, we're going to do a support group, basically living with the spectrum. And we just hope to see you there. You can go to iamdestinedtocoach.com, and we'll have that information on the website tomorrow. I'll get it up there tomorrow by 7. And just keep supporting, and hopefully we'll see you this weekend.
And thank you guys for watching. The people that watch, my family, my friends, the people that we don't know
Yeah.
that do watch. We appreciate you guys for watching. If you have any topics that you guys want us to talk about,
Yeah.
or anything that you want to talk about, let us know. Email us at what?
Timothy at destinedtocoach.com.
Yes, email us at timothy@destinedtocoach.com. Write it in the comments. Can you talk about this and how you guys deal with this? Or even if you don't have somebody in, like, you don't have kids with special needs or autism, but you have a question on how you could be more supportive for a friend or a family member, ask us and we can help you the best, to the best of our ability.
Yeah, because we know how we want to be treated, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
We know how we want to be treated.
Okay, so we'll catch you next time,
Catch
and
you next
thank you
time.
once again.
Thank
Living
you.
with the spectrum.
Living with the Spectrum. We out. We love you guys. And God bless you.